Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to your video review for Captain Marvel. It's a movie that is set in 1990s-ish, like Blockbuster was still around, but it's definitely after the 70s and 80s. So it came out between Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. So, the cliffhanger, and then they do this basically like prequel to all the Avengers stuff, and then Endgame. So there's been a lot of talk about how that definitely helped the box office of this one because of just the anticipation and wanting to get something in between there. And the thing is, there's also been a lot of criticism for Brie Larson's performance and also the things that she has said outside of the actual, performance. So like her interviews and whatnot. The thing is, I had the fortune of not knowing any of that shit before I watched this movie. I watched this movie going in there completely blind because I just was avoiding previews at that point and still mostly do, and I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. This movie is fantastic. I don't care about what Brie Larson has to say in her real life because her acting in this was spot on perfect because she has the funniest, like, dry humor little quips, and it's a classic Marvel thing. I get that there's gonna be quips and whatnot during, tense things, but she just has the funniest little jokes that I think work very well for the setting that she's in. Like, there's sometimes when Marvel humor from, Endgame and before, there are some times where the quipping doesn't quite work. This, I feel like it works pretty much throughout. All of her quips really make her endearing, and I thought her performance was perfectly nuanced because her character, and you see it established right in the beginning, they're like, hey, calm down, your emotions are the problem, you're letting them get the better of you, you need to be stoic and like repress all emotions. And so you see her with her journey through this of like when she has her emotions, trying to channel that training, and then what happens when, if circumstances change and she changes and how things go along. I think it's really, really good, and she does a fantastic job. So go into this with an open mind, because there's also some people that have been like, oh, this movie is such a, like, woman power moment, and like, I am female, hear me roar type of blah, 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 blah. Again, I went into this movie without knowing any of that bullshit, and I'm so glad because this movie, every instance where I've rewatched it just now, and every instance where there's the, like, I could see people being like, oh, I'm a woman, hear me roar. To me, it was always, I am human, hear me roar. Like, you knock me down and I will get back up again because I am human, and that is what humans do. We persevere, we get through. It doesn't matter how hard you get hit, it matters, you get back up again, type of thing. And that is why I interpreted out of it, and I loved that. And I thought that it was a very inspiring thing, and I loved the characters in this. There was also, when I watched the, it was either Honest Trailers or CinemaSins for this movie, and how some people criticize Samuel Jackson because he runs like a 70-year-old. I paid attention to that in this rewatch, and the thing is, first of all, they do a fantastic job of de-aging Samuel Jackson and de-aging Agent Coulson. At no point was there ever any rubber face or uncanny valley or any of that stuff that happened with, like Tron Legacy was an early rendition of the de-aging, and then also one of the like X-Men 3, I think, with Patrick Stewart de-aging. Like, there was none of that awkwardness. It all looked absolutely 100% real, so I'm sure that shit was expensive. But the thing is, getting back to my criticism of the CinemaSins or Honest Trailers, whatever, is he had just gotten his ass kicked when he was running like that. So you get hit in the sternum a whole bunch and other places, and then you try running full speed. You're not going to be running normal. So I felt like that was an unfair criticism. That like, oh, he runs like a 7-year-old. Yeah, well, anybody's going to run like that when they've just been in a fight kicking their ass. Anywho, so Samuel Jackson is always a win. Love his character in this. Love to see that progression. I do think that it was a little disappointing how he found out about his eye. Like, yeah, I was a little disappointed in that, but that's fine. It's just a minor complaint. Ben Mendelsohn, who I liked him in Robin Hood. I liked him in The Last Jedi or Force Awakens. Ben Mendelsohn is great. I love his accent. I love his presence, his gravitas. He's just fantastic. So he nails it in this one, and I love that. Jude Law is always a win. I especially love his last scene in this movie. Is just it's fantastic. Also, the other character or characters, not gonna say how many, in that scene, also fantastic. Love that. But yeah, Jude Law always brings it. I loved him right in the beginning. He is such a character that you can just feel with. I was in it. I was like, yeah, he is such a great mentor in this. That he is just trying to help her out and all that jazz. How he was in the beginning of this movie just really made me care about these characters. Djimon Hounsou, always a win in this, and I love that they found a way to have more of him in. I still, as always, wish they had more Djimon Hounsou, because I can never have enough Djimon Hounsou. But I like that they explained, because, and this happens right at the beginning, there's the Skrulls, and the Skrulls can, replicate people. And so their explanation for the Djimon Hounsou that died in Guardians of the Galaxy, or whichever Guardians that was because that was a Skrull. And this is him. And he was like, yeah, I got impersonated by a Skrull. It was really weird. And it's like, that's why you're in this. So I really like that, because give me more Djimon Hounsou in any way that you're able to. But yeah. I also thought that it was a little hard to believe when they introduced more Skrull, when they introduced more of them, I was like, is that the most believable way to do that? I feel like they could have done it in a different way, but whatever. And also, I do want to point out that I only watched the first episode or 2 episodes, whatever came out in one sitting, of Secret Invasion with Samuel Jackson and the Skrulls and whatnot. But from that show, it really does make a point about hey, there could be some logic in explaining why Skrulls are so dangerous as a species because of their capabilities. I am not advocating for, destroying all of them, but I could see that reasoning crop up and why certain people would feel that was the right course of action. There is a logic to it. I'm not saying I agree with that logic, but that's one of the things that I like about movies is when they have a good logic train for why this, that, or the other person is doing this, that, or the other thing, or these people are doing this thing. And I think that works in this movie. So I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was the right pacing, great acting. The CGI was fantastic in it. I liked their choices. I liked that you discover more and more of the mystery as time goes on. And yeah, it's a fun time. And Brie Larson, absolutely fantastic in it. So yeah, just give it a shot. Ignore whatever else you've read or seen of, outside of the movie things. And just watch this movie for what it is. And I think that you will enjoy it. Because I certainly did. That's all I have for this one. So, thanks for coming. Bye!